Hello friends, nice to see you back. If you recall in my previous videos, we had solved problems of Fourier transforms with applications of definition, inversion as well as Parseval's identity. We are going to do in this video a continuation of type 2 problems. So we are going to do one more problem here. I'm going to do the third one here as it is a very important problem. So in the similar manner, the application of inversion, basic definition as well as Parseval's identity. So I will call this problem number 3 because this is the third problem under type 2. The question reads this way: find the Fourier transform of f of x, where f of x is given to be a minus mod x. If you note, in the previous problem we had a square minus x square. Here we have a minus mod x, where mod x is less than or equal to a, and 0 in the other part of the interval. So after finding this, we also have to find the values of, and hence find the values of two different integrals. Number one is integral 0 to infinity sine square t, or let me write it as sine t by t the whole square dt. And the second one is integral 0 to infinity sine t by t the whole power 4 dt. This is the procedure is similar, but I have chosen this problem as very intricate differences between the previous problem and this one. There are three subparts that we have to do. One is finding the Fourier transform and the other is to deduce the values of these two integrals. So let's start off, and then procedure is exactly the same, and we will begin with finding out the Fourier transform. So I'll call that as part 1. So part 1 is to find the Fourier transform of f of x. So let's start by writing down what is f of x given to us. So the given function is f of x equal to a minus mod x. And what is the interval in which it is given? Mod x less than or equal to a. I'm sure by now we know that mod x less than or equal to a is minus a to a is the interval. So now we have to check the nature of f of x. So we consider minus f of minus x. So it's a minus mod of minus x. I have to replace x by mod x. So that gives you a minus mod x. And the interval is minus a less than or equal to minus x less than or equal to a. And hence when I simplify that, I get f of minus x is again a minus mod x, and on simplifying this inequality it becomes the same minus a to plus a. As you may recall that a less than or equal to minus x less than or equal to b is implied and implies minus b less than or equal to x less than or equal to minus a. So if you compare 1 and 2, you see that both are the same, and thus declare that both mean f of minus x is equal to f of x in the interval minus a to a, and so that proves that f of x is an even function. So we are testing the nature before we go ahead with the substitution. I am sure that working rule you are all aware of it by now. So this means f of x is an even function of x. And so the nature of f of x being known, we have to now find the nature of the products. So hence, what is the nature of f of x cos sx and the nature of f of x sin sx? Now this is what we have to define. So the first one is f of x is already even. We have defined cos is an even function, we know, and so the product of two even functions is even. So f of x cos x is an even function of x. Now moving to the next, f of x is even, we just now proved. Sine is an odd function, and therefore the resultant is again an odd function of x, and that's the result or the nature of the two functions. Which are the two functions? F of x cos x, f of x sin x. Both the natures are known to us, and one is even, the other is odd. Now we shall begin with the definition of Fourier transform. So by definition, the Fourier transform of f of x, let me write the definition. 1 by root 2 pi integral minus to plus infinity f of x e power isx dx, because e power isx is the kernel. As we normally do, we replace cos sx as e power isx as cos sx plus I sin sx and split this integral into the sum two integrals. So write it as a sum of two integrals. So let me do it. 1 by root 2 pi integral minus to plus infinity f of x cos sx dx plus I times 1 by root 2 pi integral minus to plus infinity f of x sin sx dx. As we have just now done above, we have proved that f of x sin sx is an odd function and this is an even function. So the odd integral, we are going to cancel it and make it 0. So proceeding with the even integral, first of all, let me rewrite it as 2 times 0 to infinity f of x cos sx dx. And now the time has come to substitute for f of x and the limits of x. So going back to the left hand side, please don't forget the left hand side. It's always Fourier of f of x. So this is root of 2 by pi. Before I substitute for f of x, let us go back to see what is f of x defined as. The non-zero function is defined in the interval minus a to a. And so, but our lower limit here is 0. So though we have the full limit as minus a to a, we are interested only in this interval where it is defined to be a minus mod x. So therefore, we have integral 0 to upper limit now becomes a, isn't it? And what is f of x? It is a minus mod x, and then we have cos sx dx. Now, before we continue to perform integration, look at the definition. Now you have something called mod x here, right? Now we need to go back to look at our definition of mod x before we continue or use Bernoulli rule. So for that, let me recall that the definition of mod x reads this way. So mod x is equal to x when x is greater than or equal to 0 and minus x when x is negative. This is the definition, and that's the reason why any modulus of any negative number is made positive because of this definition. Okay. Now, what is our interval we are talking about? It is 0 to a. So, naturally, mod x will be here x is greater than or equal to 0. So, we are doing this category kind of a problem here, and therefore that mod x can be replaced by x by the definition of mod x, since our limit is from 0 to a, meaning it is x is greater than or equal to 0, and thus we can rewrite that a minus mod x as a minus x and the remaining is cos sx dx. I shall put the reason here as since mod x is equal to x in the interval. Which interval are we talking about? 0 to a. So 0 to a, as x is greater than or equal to 0, it comes under this category. So mod x can be now replaced by x so that the problem is made even more easier. Now we have a product of functions, so it's obvious that you all understand that we have to take up the Bernoulli rule. So let me take u to be a minus x, v to be cos x, and then I differentiate u consecutively until I get 0. So I get u dash is minus 1 and u double dash is 0. Then I integrate v up till the second integral v2, so that I get cos x is sin sx by s, and v2 is minus cos sx by s into s, which will become s square. Now I shall combine the terms which I want with the plus sign here, combine u dash v2 with a minus sign. So the structure is now created. I have now calculated the respective integrals and derivatives. Now I have to just do the compilation. So let me go back to the problem. Fourier transform of f of x thus is root of 2 by pi. Let's do the compilation. The first one is u into v1, that is a minus x into sine of sx divided by s. Then I have 3 u dash v2. Now look at the signs that I have here. I have minus here, I have minus here, I have a minus here. So I'm talking about 3 minus signs put together. Its product is again a minus. So I get cos of sx divided by s square. So that's it. I have completed with the compilation. Now I have to substitute the limits upper limit first and then the lower limit. So let me see what happens. I start with a flower bracket, put a square bracket for the upper limit. The first term you see a minus a. Now if I replace x as a here, this term becomes 0. So the first term is 0 minus, if I replace here x by a. Now this is x. I'm replacing x by a. So what does it become? Cos of as divided by s square. So we have completed with the upper integral minus. Now lower integral. We already know that sine 0 is 0. So that first term becomes 0 again. So sine 0 is 0. We know, if you could just to recall, sine 0 is 0 and cos 0 is 1. And so look at what is the next term I get, minus cos 0. When I am replacing x by 0, I get 1 divided by s square. So I complete the lower limit contribution. And now let me simplify this. So it becomes root of 2 by pi. Both the denominators are a square, and so I can combine the numerators, which will simply become 1 minus cos of as divided by s square. 1 minus cos of as divided by s square is into root of 2 by pi is our Fourier transform. So let's now conclude the result. We have completed with the integration, substitution, everything is done, and now the Fourier transform of f of x is root of 2 by pi into 1 minus cos of as divided by s square, and then this becomes f of s. So as of now, do not simplify this further, not necessary. Once we go to the next subheading, we will try to see what we can do with this result. So the first part of finding out the Fourier transform is done. Now let us move to the second part. So I will write down what we have to prove or what we have to find. So part 2, we are not asked to prove but to find. So we have to evaluate the integral 0 to infinity sine t by t the whole square dt. Okay, fine. Now this is what we are supposed to do. Now look at the always that I have told you, if the integrand contains f of s in it as a part of the integrand, then think of it to be the inversion formula. So last two problems that we have done, this is the hint I have got. If f of s is directly used as an integrand, but what is f of s here in our case? One, leaving out the constant for some time, I have 1 minus cos as. Denominator coincides. You see, you have s square here, you have t square here. So fine, that's only a change of variable, so that's not a problem. But look at the numerator, you have 1 minus cos as, and here you have sine square. So do you think that there is some relation? Can you rewrite 1 minus cos as in terms of sine? Yes, you can, because by a usual integration formula that you have, I will not write it as as, but if you want to recall the formula, I will write it as theta. 1 minus cos theta, we have all studied that it is 2 sine square theta by 2. So, don't you see here that 1 minus cos s, that is f of s, is going to generate sine square? Yes, it does. So that means that this right in the integrand is nothing but your f of s. Of course, with some constants which we have to do the manipulation later. But the structure, that is 1 minus cos theta, is generating sine square is the hint we get. And therefore, the hint, the further confirmation is what can be applied to get this? Use the inversion formula, because this integrand is nothing but the part of the Fourier transform that we got in equation 1. So now let me start by judging the nature of f of s. So I start with, as f of x is an even function of x, right? This is an even function of x. We have proved it in where? We have proved it in part 1, from part 1. And what are we going to judge now? Its Fourier transform, that is f of s, is also an even function of s, isn't also an even function of s. This is because of the property that we learned. So because it's an even function, what are we going to do? Judge its products. Which product? F of s cos s x and f of s sin s x. what is the nature of these two? This is an even function. So the nature is even into cos is an even function. So f of s cos will also be an even function of s. Please note the variable there. And what about this? It is even because we have just now found sine is an odd function. So the product is an odd function of s. So now we have got the results, the nature of all the three. Now we shall write down the definition of inverse Fourier transform and then write down the two to check the nature and decide which integral continues. So by definition of inverse Fourier transform, Fourier inverse of f of s is equal to 1 by root 2 pi integral minus infinity to infinity f of s, and the kernel, if you rightly remember, it's e power minus isx. Integration is done with respect to s. The first step, as I said, must be rewritten as cos sx minus I sin sx. That's the change here. And so when I split this into two integrals, I get 1 by root 2 pi minus infinity to infinity cos f of s cos sx ds minus I by root 2 pi integral minus to plus infinity f of s sine of sx ds. Now check the nature of these two. One is even, the second is odd. So we are going to automatically remove the second integral and continue with the first integral because it is an even function. And because it is even, how do you rewrite the integral? Please note the left hand side, f inverse of f of x. And that's nothing but f of x. We'll rewrite it as f of x because it's easy to handle. 2 by root 2 pi integral 0 to infinity f of s cos x ds. Now time has come to decide about substitution. What is f of s? What are the limits for f of s? So if you note from part 1, what did you get f of s to be? It was nothing but root of 2 by pi into 1 minus cos as divided by s square. This is what you got. What are the limits of s? Always they are from minus infinity to infinity. But what is our lower limit? It is 0. So what will the limits now be? 0 to infinity. So taking this forward, this will now be root of 2 by pi integral 0 to infinity will continue as it is. Now let me substitute for f of s, which is root of 2 by pi into 1 minus cos as divided by s square, and what is outside? Cos of sx, and integration is done with respect to s. Now let us continue this. The constants can be multiplied, and as we wanted, now look at what we want. We want the numerator to have sine square, right? Look at part 2 evaluation. To evaluate integral sine square t by t square. So inevitably we have to now replace that formula. 1 minus cos as formula has to be substituted here. So before that, what I shall do is rewrite the constant as 2 by pi, and recalling the formula that 1 minus cos theta is 2 sine square theta by 2, as I told you a few minutes back. So 1 minus cos of as is 2 sine square as by 2. So that's how we should replace the given numerator. So let me rewrite this formula there. So I have taken out the constant. Now look at what happens. It is 0 to infinity. 1 minus cos as becomes 2 sine square as by 2 divided by s square cos of sx ds. Right? Now this 2 could also be taken out so that we could merge it and get it as 4 by pi and then see what we have to do next. So this becomes f of x is equal to 4 by pi integral 0 to infinity sine square as by 2 divided by s square cos sx ds. Now let me keep the integral as it is and then take the constant to the other side so that we will know how to proceed further. So I'll keep the integral as it is and then take that pi by 4 to the other side so that it becomes pi by 4 into f of x. So this is the Fourier integral representation. Now look at what we want. Again, we shall write it on the right side for our understanding. We need to find the value of 0 to infinity sine square t by t square dt. This is the integral we want. So what do we first do? We do have that format. You have sine square, you have s square. But what is this doing here? It has to be taken off. If it has to be taken off, we have to give a particular value of x. So what should that value of x be? Yes, you are right. You put x is equal to 0. Why? Why did you put? So that cos 0 value, we know it to be 1. And therefore, what happens to the integral on the left side? 0 to infinity sine square as by 2 divided by s square is equal to pi by 4 into f of x at x is equal to 0. Now, when I say x equal to 0, substitute. What is that f of x at x equal to 0? Let's go back to our function. What is f of x given to be? F of x is given to be a minus mod x in the interval minus a to plus a. So, where is 0? X equal to 0 is definitely belonging to minus a, and therefore what is f of x at x equal to 0? It is simply a minus mod 0, which is a. So I have it to be a, and therefore this result that I have is simply equal to pi a by 4. So I have now substituted this value back into the function. So what did I get therefore? Let me rewrite it. Integral 0 to infinity sine square as by 2 by s square ds, we have forgotten ds here, equal to pi a by 4. Now, what is it we want actually? We want it of the form sine square t by t square. So again, I need this, but there is one a there. That a can be made to vanish because it's an arbitrary constant. So suppose I put a equal to 2. Don't you agree the denominator will get cancelled? Yes. So what happens? Now substitute it integral 0 to infinity sine square 2s by 2 by s square ds is equal to 2 pi by 4. Now cancel out the 2 and see what and declare your answer. So this becomes integral 0 to infinity, cancelling out the 2. So 2 and 2 gets cancelled. It becomes sine square s by s square ds is pi by 2. But we want the dummy variable s to be changed to t. So replace the dummy variable s by t and rewrite it in the form that he wants, whether you write it as sine square t by t square or sine t by t the whole square, your result therefore will be integral 0 to infinity sine square t by t square dt is equal to pi by 2, or you want it in that form 0 to infinity sine t by t the whole square dt is pi by 2. So we have got this result only by the inversion formula and just substituting a particular value of x and value of a for our when compared to our result that we want, correspondingly we have taken values for substitution. So second result has been proved using inversion. Now let us do part 3. Part 3 is now to evaluate another integral. You see, integral 0 to infinity sine t by t whole power 4 dt. Now this is what you need to evaluate. I am sure you can guess now because f of s, as you saw from part 1, it is 1 minus cos as by s square, which was also written as 2 sine square as by 2 by s square. So you have a square term both sides, both in the numerator and denominator. Here you are having to the power 4. So that means we are trying to have an integrand which is the square of f of s with some more terms, if at all it is there. So then, in that case, what did I ask you to think of? It's nothing but the Parseval's theorem. Yes, indeed. So we have to use to find out this value by using the Parseval's theorem. So let me start off by writing down the Parseval's theorem. So by Parseval's theorem, integral minus infinity to infinity modulus of f of s the whole square ds is equal to integral minus infinity to infinity modulus f of x the whole square dx. Now, as we have seen earlier, both f of x and f of s both are even. So that's as I told you even the last two problems. check that they are even functions. So first of all, remove that minus infinity and make it 0 to infinity. So this 2 times. So this becomes 2 times 0 to infinity, and then mod f of s the whole square ds is equal to 2 times 0 to infinity modulus f of x the whole square dx. There's no need to write the modulus because the limits are for above 0. So it's on the positive side. Now let me substitute the limits. So as I said here, for s the limits will be only from 0 to infinity, and f of s the whole square, actually it is root of 2 by pi into 1 minus cos of as by s square, this the whole square, isn't it? So this the whole square ds, and here the limits will be from 0 to a because x varies from 0 to minus a to a, but lower limit is 0, and this becomes a minus x the whole square dx. What is the reason? Since f of x is equal to a minus mod x actually, which is nothing but a minus x in the interval 0 comma a. So it is a simple integration that is to be done here. The right left hand side is only a substitution that we do. So we take the constant outside. So you get 2 by pi 0 to infinity, and 1 minus cos as is nothing but 2 sine square as by 2, which we have been doing so far, divided by s square, this the whole square we have ds. And now when I integrate a minus x the whole square, I'm sure you all agree it's a minus x the whole cube by minus 3. I don't have to expand it because it's a linear function. The limits are from 0 to a. Now take the constant once again outside on the left side, and you find here that it is 4 into 2, which is 8, 8 by pi, integral 0 to infinity. See that power 4 has come now, sine square to the power whole square is sine power 4 as by 2 by s to the power 4 ds. So slowly we are coming closer to the answer. So now upper limit is, when I substitute the upper limit, I get a minus a, which is 0. Then I have lower limit minus, but there's already a minus in the denominator, so it makes it plus. And when I put x is 0, I get a cube by 3. So the right hand side is simply a cube by 3. And now let us look at what we want. So what is it that we want here? We want sine power 4 t. So we need integral 0 to infinity sine power 4t divided by t power 4 dt. So again, I'm sure you all agree with the substitution that I make. Maybe I can do one more substitute simplification before I make a substitution for a. So as by 2 by s power 4 ds. Take that pi by 8 to the other side so that it becomes pi a cube by 8 into 3, which is 24. Now, because I don't want that a here, I want it to get cancelled with the 2. So I will substitute a equal to 2. So let me put here a is equal to 2 so that the integral now becomes integral 0 to infinity sine power 4 a 2s. In fact, it is not a, I'm putting it as 2. So it becomes 2s divided by 2 by s power 4 ds is equal to pi into, here I am substituting 2. So 2 cube divided by 24. So if I cancel out the 2 and the right hand side, it is 8 and by 24, which is 1 by 3. So when I simplify this, it is 0 to infinity sine power 4s by s power 4 ds is nothing but pi by 3 because it's 8 by 24. And now what I can do is replace the dummy variable s by t. And so what happens to my final answer? When I take it to the power 4, what do I get? Integral 0 to infinity sine power 4t by t power 4 dt is pi by 3, or in the form that he wants, integral 0 to infinity sine t divided by t the whole power 4 dt is equal to pi by 3. So that's the answer of the second subdivision after we find the Fourier transform. So that proves the result. So what all did we use? We used the definition in part 1, we used the inversion in part 2, and we used the Parseval's identity in part 3. Now the three problems that have been done in the three videos are extremely important for the exam point of view and also to proceed further. So we could maybe take up a problem in my next video wherein we can try out some properties where we can apply them in problems. I shall show that in my next video. Thanks for watching, and I hope the three problems that I have done in detail benefit all of you. Thank you. Take care.